This episode is brought to you by Online Marketing for MartialArts.com. That's the new service from Mata where we take over your online marketing and do it for you. So check it out at Online Marketing for MartialArts.com. In this very special episode, I'm going to devote the entire segment to one fascinating topic. Most of us are very familiar, and if you're like most martial arts instructors, you're big fans of Anthony Robbins. Well, this program is not going to be devoted so much to Anthony Robbins, but the secret to his success, the Anthony Robbins secret sauce, so to say, and how you can use it for your school to become a better instructor and a more influential person in every part of your life. This is the show for martial artists just like you who want to achieve success without selling out and have some fun along the way. I'm John Graden, and thank you. I've always been fascinated by how the mind works and what is the nature of motivation. Why do we do the things that we do? And it started actually going way back to my early black belt days. Let me give you the whole story real quick. It's kind of interesting. Joe Lewis was at my school, and he was doing a lot of long driving because he's going to seminars and things. So he's on the road for a long period of time. And he picked up this set of audio tapes by Roger Dawson on how to negotiate. And he came in one day, it was a six-pack of tapes. At the time, probably costs $40, $50. And he goes, you want to listen to these things? I don't find them very interesting. So I said, sure. I had never heard of such a thing as seminars on tape. So I plugged it in, and bang, my life literally changed. My car became a driving university on wheels. As I listened to Roger Dawson on negotiation, Brian Tracy on success, and then eventually I discovered this guy. You may know him, Anthony Robbins or Tony Robbins. At the time, he was doing something called neuroassociative conditioning, something like that. What it turned out to be was a reworking of NLP, which is Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And I followed Tony's work for a long time. And in fact, I interviewed him on my TV show in the mid-90s. So I'm talking about the Joe Lewis thing happened in the late 80s, 87, 88. I started listening to all these guys. I interviewed Tony Robbins 3 or 4 times on my program in 1992, 93. In fact, I was a guest at one of his fireworks over in Orlando. And it was a fascinating process. But what I've discovered is that Tony Robbins started out as a hypnotist. And NLP is basically physical hypnosis, very much like martial arts. And I bring this up because this stuff is absolutely fascinating. So I've continued to study hypnosis, NLP, and obviously the martial arts. And then a friend of mine in 2006, who's a martial arts historian, said that he was researching some of the major Japanese masters who actually came here to the States and built big organizations, including, I'm not going to name names. He said they were all trained in hypnosis. And I thought, whoa, wow, that's really interesting. And that did it for me. So in 2006, I took a 7-day certification. I mean, it was complete immersion at one of the top hypnosis schools in the country. I became certified in hypnosis. I became certified in NLP. And I've applied that work in everything that I do. And next to martial arts, nothing has had more power and more impact on my life than learning the fascinating processes of the human mind through hypnosis and NLP. So at this stage, a little bit out of the blue, some people have discovered that I have this other life in hypnosis and NLP. In fact, I was a speaker last year at the World Hypno Summit through a friend of mine named Tom Nicoli, who was on Dateline, NBC Dateline. They did a weight loss challenge between 5 different modalities for weight loss. He did hypnosis, and his guy lost, I think, the second most weight of anybody else without anything else other than hypnosis. So anyway, I was also recruited by eHow.com, at the time called Expert Village, to host and teach a number of segments on hypnosis. But this is all building up to this idea, and somebody contacted me earlier and said, you know, what would really help a lot of martial arts instructors is if they knew how to incorporate not so much hypnosis, but the NLP side, because they're really intertwined, as you'll discover. In fact, let's get into what is hypnosis. I'm not even going to cut away to my eHow thing, because you can see I'm getting excited about this stuff. I love this stuff. It's fascinating to me. Hypnosis, we're all in various stages of hypnosis throughout the day. Something like 80% or 88% of our daily routines are patterns that we repeat over and over again. And hypnosis is going into a trance state. And what hypnosis does is it's a way of bypassing the conscious mind. The conscious mind is the one that you analyze with and you think about, and it's going and penetrating to the subconscious mind. So when you're driving along and you're spacing out, think about when you first learned to drive. It was like driving a tank, a big boat out in the middle of the highway, and you felt so detached from it. But as time goes by, it becomes less of a conscious effort into a subconscious effort. You're doing it with 2 fingers, you're texting, you're doing it with your knee while you're combing your hair. So that action transfers from the conscious mind, where it's very conscious, to a subconscious. So you can think and go into a trance state, a low-level trance state. When you're watching a film, and you know it's actors, you know it's Tom Cruise, you know that's Nicole Kidman, you know that these are just lights flickering on a screen and it's all fake, but you completely get emotionally immersed into it, you are in a trance state. Marketers know this. Ads are designed specifically to bypass the guard, the conscious mind. I'm being sold, I won't be sold. They design these ads to be funny, emotional, compelling, to bypass the conscious mind to get to the subconscious mind and make an emotional connection. For you, for me, the martial arts had a tremendous impact on our lives. Why? Well, let's ask the question, why didn't it have the same impact on 98% of the other people in class? Why was it just the few of us that, if we were told that class was 5 o'clock in the morning, in the parking lot, in the snow, in our bare feet, that we would have been there? I know I would have been. I bet you would have been there too. That's because the martial arts, it didn't matter that it was hard. It didn't matter that it was brutal. It bypassed the conscious mind. Would say, well, this is nuts. I mean, this stuff is really hard to do. It hurts. These guys are beating on us. It doesn't consciously make sense. But for many of us in our past, we came from a position of maybe some violence, some intimidation, and a feeling of being powerless in our youth. And then through the martial arts, we discovered a way to gain respect and gain power. That bypassed any objection and guard and went right to the subconscious mind, and literally right into our heart. So a hypnotist, simply with words, guides you through the levels of trance. The Stanford standard of measurement for hypnosis trance is 1 through 6. 1 being very light, kind of highway hypnosis. An hour goes by as you're driving and you have no idea what just happened. To level 5 and 6, when you get into things like ultra height hypnosis, where you can literally have major surgery done without anesthesia. And if you go on YouTube and look it up, you'll see it all over the place. It's remarkably common. I hypnotize my children when I have to do work on, if my son has an ingrown toenail, he doesn't feel a thing. And here's what it comes down to. In the martial arts, we hear this a lot. Mind and body. Mind and body. Well, I don't see a lot of mental training being done in the martial arts. If so, I see it more on the soft style side than I do on the hard style side. On the hard style side, because this is where I have most of my experience and I can speak from knowing, it's often the mental attitude is positive, courtesy, respect, self-control, self-discipline. And if it hurts, pain is part of the training. That's all good. But are we really getting to the depths of motivation? Are we really getting to the core motivations and understanding of the mind and the body and how they work together? I am considering, and I'm doing this to get your feedback on this subject. If you would be interested in a 2-day workshop that was specifically designed to help instructors and competitors integrate some of these concepts into your work. So as an instructor, as a teacher, as an admissions director enrolling people, as a speaker in a group of business people or at a high school doing a demo, that you would have these tools to pull upon, to add to your toolbox, to increase your ability to influence. There are, I think, 5 areas that I could help you with a lot. Number 1 is in the enrollment process. Everything from answering the phone, the language patterns used, the bridge words that are used, all the way through the trial course into the enrollment course. There's a variety of language patterns and physical movement patterns getting into the NLP that are real powerful in that setting. Retention, motivation, that's the core of this stuff. This is when these language patterns and these NLP strategies really get powerful. For competitors, if you're competing, you want to improve your results by tapping into the power of the mind, and also for your students preparing for their exams. Ways that we can help students get prepared for the exams and then tap into that same feeling when they're taking an exam at school or they're faced with a challenging situation in their regular life. Retention, training. When you're training your staff and you're training your students, helping people to remember long katas and patterns and maintaining a strong, positive mental attitude about what they're doing. But it's not that surface level, rah, high motivation. We're talking deep, intrinsic, instilled, imprinted motivation to stay in your school, to support your school, and to continue their training. If this interests you, I would like to start a series of courses for this subject. So if this interests you, I want you to let me know. Please leave a comment below. Let's explore this concept. I'll continue these little bits on the program and through my email blast to get feedback from you specifically on how you think this could help you. Remember, going back to Tony Robbins, it's kind of the reverse. With Robbins, he used hypnosis and NLP to become a huge success, to reprogram his mind to become a success. And then he discovered martial arts. And what he told me was they tied in perfectly. And if you listen to my interviews with him, you'll hear some references to that. I'm the opposite. I started as a martial artist, and that simply wasn't enough. I continued to explore. I continued to educate myself, and I continued to be a student and continue my discovery. So, because this is such a powerful subject, because this is something I am so passionate about, I think it would help you a lot. And that's exactly why I need your feedback. So please give me a comment. Let me know if you'd be interested in having a course like that, bringing your staff or solo. And the other area that I missed before and how I could help your school, real permanent change. real permanent change. That's what hypnosis does. That's why it's great for losing weight or quitting smoking or stopping bad habits or overcoming phobias. I'm not saying you're becoming a psychologist. I'm not saying that at all. But doesn't the martial arts promote that we change lives? Don't we change lives on a regular basis? Is that part of what we've done for years? Certainly changed our lives. And what if, in a direct or even more interestingly enough, an indirect, covert hypnotic way, you could instill lasting change in your students? When a student comes to you with a problem, you don't have to say, sit down and I'm going to hypnotize you. You'll simply have some tools that can help them in a one-on-one setting or in a group setting with your class. Go through some exercises and processes that are extremely powerful, that are proven, that'll have a huge impact on your school. So there you go. By the way, one of the techniques that I'll share with you is called an open loop. Earlier in our conversation, I said there are 5 ways that this can help you. And I started into some of them and then I went away from it. That was not by accident. When I say there are 5 things that I'm going to do for you with this program, you're leaning forward and listening closer. It draws you in. That's an open loop, and then I close the loop at the end of the presentation like I just did. That is a classic NLP technique. I'm John Graden. Let me know what you think. Just an idea, but I think it'd be a lot of fun, and I know it could have a huge impact on your organization.